The courtroom was hushed except for the low hum of the overhead lights. Maya Williams stood at the respondent's table, her hands trembling slightly as she glanced toward Judge Harold Whitaker, whose imposing figure dominated the bench. His silver hair gleamed under the fluorescent lights, and his black robe seemed to swallow the space around him. "You are wasting this court's time," he barked. Maya swallowed, her throat dry. "Your Honor, I am only asking for my lawful documents to be acknowledged." Whitaker leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Your papers disappeared after reaching this court. Convenient. Everyone has documents until asked to show them." The gallery murmured. Maya felt her pulse quicken. She held the receipts, copies, and case numbers tightly in her hands, proof of her lawful residency. The judge slammed his hand beside the gavel. "Quiet!" The room obeyed instantly. Maya's voice quivered, but she pressed on. "I was arrested after my paperwork went missing. I was denied a phone call and held overnight. I am not supposed to be deported." Whitaker's face hardened. "Refusing voluntary departure, are you claiming innocence?" "Yes, sir. I am innocent," she said firmly. The tension thickened. Deputy Voss shifted beside her, uneasy. Elena Morales, the attorney, rose. "Your Honor, if the respondent alleges coercion and missing lawful status documentation, counsel should be appointed and all intake records preserved." Whitaker struck the gavel. "Sit down, Miss Morales. One more sentence and you're in contempt." Maya's hands shook. She looked at the judge, pleading for acknowledgement of her rights. Whitaker leaned back, sipping coffee from a paper cup. "I've seen hundreds like you. You think filing a lawsuit scares me?" Maya's voice softened, unwavering. "The truth is still somewhere in this building." Whitaker's face reddened. He tipped the coffee over the edge of the bench. The dark liquid splashed across the polished floor. "Clean that," he commanded. Maya froze. She had her hand inside her coat, the hidden device recording everything. "I will not, Your Honor," she whispered. Elena protested. "Objection. This is degrading and improper." Whitaker ignored her. Voss stepped forward to enforce the order. Maya twisted subtly, her brown coat revealing a glimpse of the FBI badge tucked inside, unnoticed by the court. Whitaker's rage surged, but he had underestimated her. The deputies dragged her toward the basement holding area, the air changing from polished wood and perfume to cold concrete and bleach. Pain radiated through her ribs, but she maintained composure. Nora Pike, a clerk with a clipboard, processed her intake. "Identity verification," she said flatly. Voss guided Maya to a metal table, securing her cuff to a ring. "Sit," he ordered. Maya pressed her hand against her ribs, her breathing steady despite the pain. "I need counsel." "Oh," she insisted. "You are not under criminal indictment," Nora said. The basement was silent except for her controlled breaths. Raymond Cole monitored from the van outside, listening to the hidden device under her coat. Every word captured the abuse, every order a proof of misconduct. Maya stared at the camera in the corner, undeterred. "My file was real. Someone made it disappear," she whispered to herself. Cole nodded in understanding. The trap laid by Whitaker had teeth, but Maya's resolve was stronger. Dawn approached, and the courtroom above remained oblivious to the undercover operation that had just secured evidence of corruption and abuse. Maya Williams, Federal Bureau of Investigation, had entered to document, not beg for justice, her brown coat carrying the weight of truth and courage. Outside, the city of Savannah slept unaware of the storm unfolding beneath its courthouse, a story of power, cruelty, and the quiet strength of a woman determined to ensure that every person with a name was remembered. By morning, the courthouse was transformed into a crime scene for investigators. Federal agents moved with precision, photographing every terminal, documenting every file cabinet. Maya sat in a small medical room, her ribs already bruised and aching from the night before. A medic examined her carefully, handing her 2 pain relievers. "You've been through a lot, but we need you sharp," he said. Maya nodded, taking a deep breath to steady herself. Raymond Cole entered, carrying a paper bag with a biscuit inside. "You remembered," she said quietly. "Useful things," he replied. They joined Priya Nyer and Agent Lewis at the temporary command center, screens glowing with recovered data. The phrase "Black Orchard" appeared repeatedly. tied to missing persons and deleted records. Maya leaned closer, piecing together the puzzle of the private transfer codes. Each code represented a life erased. They cross-referenced travel logs, property records, and shell companies, slowly uncovering a pattern of systematic removal and trafficking. Ruth Bennett's files filled in gaps, each entry a whisper of the people Whitaker had tried to erase. Samuel Okoro's name appeared, linked to multiple missing persons cases. Maya's heart tightened. Grace Okoro's devotion and repeated inquiries had preserved the trail. Cole outlined the strategy. Contact Grace carefully, gather evidence, and prepare for the night operation. Maya opened the paper bag and ate, steadying herself. The weight of responsibility pressed down, but clarity sharpened her resolve. Outside, the streets of Atlanta remained quiet. In a small brick house, Grace Okoro held the box of letters, photographs, and records she had collected over years of unanswered calls. Maya introduced herself through the doorway, revealing her FBI badge. Grace hesitated, tears in her eyes, but allowed them in. The scent of lemon cleaner and coffee mingled with a palpable tension. Maya explained the evidence and what it meant. Her father may still be alive, removed illegally under the guise of lawful deportation. Grace's anger and fear mingled with hope. The photograph of Samuel in his apron, from a cookout long ago, became a tangible connection to the man she had waited for every Sunday. Plans were set for the Mississippi transfer point, with 18 people potentially still at risk. Maya and Cole prepared, gathering a breach team and coordinating with state authorities. The convoy rolled silently, dawn light casting long shadows over the red dirt road leading to the property. The farmhouse appeared abandoned, but signs of recent activity told a different story. Maya led, her brown coat now a symbol of testimony, her vest and badge marking authority. Cole briefed her, emphasizing caution. She would be the face of rescue. The team approached the gates, cutting locks, advancing through pine-scented fog, weapons ready. Inside, the mill was a maze of dim light, noise, and the faint smell of sawdust and oil. Men shouted, others fled. Maya raised her hands, showing her badge, calming the victims who thought they were being punished again. Medical staff and agents quickly moved in, distributing blankets and water. Maya and Cole moved through the mill, identifying rooms, victims, and signs of recent captivity. Names were etched on walls, a record of those who had been removed. Each mark a human story, now acknowledged. Tire tracks led away from the shed, and fragments of partially burned documents were recovered. Priya's team decoded the markings. The operation had moved victims before dawn, exploiting gaps in the law and the system's blind spots. Maya chose not to contact Grace yet, wanting to confirm the rescue before revealing partial truths. Communications and tracking continued as daylight strengthened, revealing the extent of the operation. Federal oversight ensured that these people, once erased, were now accounted for and safe. The team identified the first target, coordinated entry, and prepared for the breach. Every step, every movement was meticulous, a counterbalance to years of calculated abuse. Maya's ribs throbbed with each motion, but her resolve held. The first building was secured, evidence collected, and victims identified. The process repeated, methodical, until the 32 individuals were led out into the morning sun. Some shielded their eyes, others wept quietly, each carrying the weight of recovery and acknowledgement. Maya remained calm, her presence a reassurance. Each life recovered represented a small victory against the machinery of exploitation, the system manipulated for cruelty. The survivors, once numbers, were now visible, their names spoken, their stories intact. By sunrise, the morning light reflected on faces, blankets, and determined eyes. The operation had restored not just individuals, but a measure of justice. Maya looked toward the open mill doors, the air carrying a sense of closure, for now. This was only the beginning of a broader investigation, but for the people standing in sunlight, it was a profound, undeniable triumph. By late morning, the FBI team had established a secure perimeter around the Mississippi property. Maya Williams and Raymond Cole surveyed the long, red dirt drive leading up to the mill. Trees shrouded the property, and the air was thick with fog that lingered from the pre-dawn chill. Every step toward the building brought the weight of anticipation. The first team had cut the perimeter fence, and surveillance drones hovered above, capturing live feeds from multiple angles. Agents moved quietly, but with precise coordination. Maya's vest and badge marked her authority, her brown coat now a testament to her undercover courage. Inside the mill, dim light and the scent of sawdust, diesel and sweat mingled, masking the echoes of the recent activity. Old machinery rattled, producing enough noise to cover the team's movements. Myer and Cole entered, sweeping the space systematically. Behind chain-link partitions, the first group of victims huddled together, faces pale and terrified. Many raised their hands instinctively, anticipating punishment or removal. Maya stepped forward, lowering her weapon and holding her badge high. "I'm Maya Williams, FBI," she said calmly. "You're safe now. No one is moving you again." Some victims sobbed, others stared, incredulous. Medical teams and social workers quickly moved in, distributing blankets, water, and first aid. Agents continued to check every room, documenting and securing evidence. The East Wing contained smaller rooms where victims had been confined. Doors opened one by one, revealing empty spaces, some with personal items and bedding, others holding people too weak to stand. Each face Maya encountered carried fear, exhaustion, and a fragile hope. The evidence was undeniable. Systematic forced transfers had occurred under the guise of lawful removal. Tire tracks outside led to service roads and abandoned structures. The team documented every trace. Maya identified fragments of burned documents, partially legible, connecting the operation to Black Orchard and the PTR-09 transfer code. Priya's team decoded the metadata, revealing that the victims had been moved deliberately, often bypassing any legal oversight or documentation. Maya chose not to contact the families immediately. She needed confirmation that the victims were safe first. As the team prepared to move the recovered individuals to secure transport, Maya noted the meticulous record-keeping of the perpetrators. Every erased file, every manipulated record had left a digital footprint. Slowly, the team extracted the victims, leading them into the morning light. Some cried, shielding their faces from the brightness. Others whispered names and shared embraces. For the first time, they were visible, acknowledged, and accounted for. Maya's calm presence and clear identification provided a sense of safety and trust. Each person recovered was a triumph against a corrupt system designed to erase lives. The operation continued methodical, precise, until all present victims had been documented, treated, and moved to secure locations. Maya reflected on the significance of the recovery. These people, once numbers in a manipulated system, were now recognized as individuals, with families and histories restored. The morning sun cast long shadows across the property, illuminating the determination and resolve of the team. Maya's gaze swept the mill and the surrounding grounds. Signs of past activity, now secured and documented, told the story of cruelty and exploitation. Yet in this moment, there was justice, however fragile, restoring dignity and life to those who had been erased. The operation at the Hartwell Timber Processing Mill was the first of many, but for the 32 individuals led into sunlight, it was a complete, undeniable victory. Maya allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection, knowing the work was far from over, yet recognizing the power of action and courage in the face of systemic abuse. The operation extended deeper into the property as agents swept through each building. Maya Williams followed Raymond Cole closely, her badge visible, her brown coat tucked beneath her ballistic vest. Every step carried the weight of the previous night's injuries, yet her focus remained unwavering. Inside a long cinder block building behind the barn, the air was colder, tinged with damp concrete and the metallic scent of fear. Rows of empty metal bed frames lined the walls, scars of the forced occupancy, while scratch marks and names etched into the walls testified to those who had been held. Maya crouched to photograph the markings, committing each detail to the evidence record. Agent Lewis confirmed through his headset that fresh tire tracks led from the rear loading shed toward an unmarked service road. The mud was still soft, impressions clear. The blackened corner of a partially burned document suggested attempts to destroy evidence. But Priya's team had reconstructed the codes, each code linked to a person, each person a story nearly erased. Cole studied the recovered material carefully. The Black Orchard codes traced the victim's illicit transfers. Maya touched Samuel Okoro's photograph in her vest pocket, a tangible connection to those she had vowed to protect. Communications crackled over radios as agents coordinated the secure extraction. One team intercepted a box truck further down the service road, preventing any further removals. Maya's voice remained calm and authoritative as she addressed the victims. "I am Maya Williams, FBI. You are safe now. No one is moving you again." Relief, disbelief, and tentative hope washed over the huddled individuals. Medical teams provided immediate care, blankets, and reassurance. Agents collected personal belongings, securing documentation for further investigation. Nyer and Cole systematically confirmed each room, logging conditions and identifying victims, making sure no one remained unaccounted for. Every trace of the illicit operation was meticulously documented. Burned papers, footprints, tire tracks, and digital traces recovered from computers and networks. Priya verified metadata and reconstructed communications, confirming that the removals were deliberate, organized, and systematic, not accidental. Nyer chose not to contact families until every individual was secured. Each step in the mill and adjacent buildings revealed layers of abuse, neglect, and calculated concealment. By mid-morning, all 32 individuals were safely led out, guided by agents and medical personnel into the early sunlight. Their faces reflected relief, fatigue, and a fragile sense of justice. Nyer noted the significance of the operation. Each person recovered represented the restoration of humanity where the system had tried to erase it. The mill, once a hidden site of suffering, now stood exposed to daylight and law enforcement scrutiny. Nyer allowed herself a moment of acknowledgement for the courage displayed, knowing that the recovery of these lives was just the first chapter in the dismantling of a network designed to manipulate, harm, and conceal. She observed the victims being tended to, the evidence meticulously bagged and catalogued, and the property secured. Every photograph, document, and testimonial collected would form a foundation for prosecution and justice. Nyer's focus sharpened as she prepared for the next phase. Tracing the network, securing the remaining victims, and ensuring that no person would be lost to the shadows again. The sun climbed higher over the pines, its light illuminating the red dirt and the outlines of the buildings, revealing the scale of the operation and the lives it had affected. Nyer's mind raced through logistics, next steps, and legal proceedings, but she remained grounded in the immediate reality. The 32 individuals were safe, counted, and recognized. This victory, while partial, marked a turning point in the investigation. Every name recorded, every mark on the walls photographed, and every survivor accounted for was a testament to resilience, courage, and the power of determined action against systemic injustice. By mid-afternoon, the operation had fully secured the Hartwell timber processing property. Maya Williams and Raymond Cole moved among agents and victims, confirming every individual had been accounted for. The main building's interior told stories of confinement, thin bedding, personal items stacked, and markings etched into walls, names, dates, codes that had once been invisible to the outside world. Nyer photographed each detail, ensuring no trace of the victim's suffering would be ignored in court. Tire tracks led away from the property, and the partially burned documents recovered earlier provided the missing links to the Black Orchard exchange network. Priya Nyer confirmed digital reconstructions. Metadata and communications pointed to systematic, deliberate, and covert transfers, not accidental oversights. Nyer, with her badge visible, reassured victims, establishing trust. "You are safe now. No one is moving you again." Medical personnel provided care, blankets, and water. Cole coordinated with state police, ensuring all exit routes were monitored, leaving no opportunity for continued illegal transfer. Nyer's mind remained sharp, mentally cataloging evidence, cross-referencing names, and tracking each recovered individual to ensure accurate records for prosecution. Among the survivors, Samuel Okoro was located, seated on a crate, trembling but alive. His recognition of Nyer and the photograph she held brought a mix of relief and disbelief. Through secure video, Grace Okoro watched her father, confirming he had not been lost to the system. Nyer observed, quietly maintaining the dignity of the reunion while agents secured surrounding structures and additional holding areas. Each room revealed traces of cruel confinement, small spaces, makeshift bedding, discarded food containers, and personal effects, a testament to lives erased. Maya documented everything meticulously, photographs, notes, and digital captures, ensuring the operation's findings could withstand scrutiny in court. The recovered evidence included transportation logs, property records, and shell company ownership, directly tying the Black Orchid exchange to illicit human transfers. Priya's analysis confirmed the pattern. Victims were moved deliberately, often bypassing legal documentation, their existence erased in government records. Maya's restraint prevented premature disclosure to families, protecting both the victims and the ongoing investigation. Agents, medics, and Maya coordinated the extraction of all individuals to secure transport. Each person processed carefully and identity verified. The process, while methodical, maintained respect and dignity for the rescued. By the late afternoon, sunlight illuminated the mill's exterior, revealing the full scope of the illegal operation. The team continued documenting tire tracks, potential escape routes, and structural modifications used for confinement. Maya reviewed the extracted files, connecting each PTR-09 or Black Orchid code to a human being, each of whom had previously been counted as removed or lost by corrupt officials. These discoveries would form the foundation for legal action, exposing systemic corruption and human trafficking, disguised under the guise of immigration enforcement. Maya allowed herself a brief pause, looking over the mill property. The sun reflected on rusted structures and freshly turned earth, a stark contrast between the shadow of abuse and the light of accountability. Each recovered life represented a small victory against a system that had attempted to erase them. Yet Maya knew this was only the beginning. The broader network remained active, and evidence must be preserved, witnesses supported, and legal processes executed with precision. The property was now a crime scene, every mark and recovered item catalogued, every survivor accounted for, and every trace of the perpetrator's manipulations documented. Maya's resolve strengthened as she prepared for the next phase, bringing the evidence to authorities, identifying additional victims, and ensuring that the lives stolen could be fully restored. The operation's success reflected not only strategic precision, but also a commitment to justice and humanity, a tangible response to years of systemic erasure and abuse. As the last survivors were secured and escorted into safe transport, Maya Williams and Raymond Cole reviewed the evidence in the command center. Screens displayed maps, satellite imagery, and extracted records from the Black Orchid network. Every recovered document, every tire track, and every photograph connected the dots of systematic abuse and forced labor operations disguised as lawful removals. Maya leaned over the maps, pointing to the next target along the Mississippi-Alabama corridor. Priya Nyer ran analytics on the recovered metadata, highlighting potential sites still active or recently used. "These are moving fast," she said. "We need to intercept before nightfall." Cole nodded, coordinating with field teams and state police to establish checkpoints along possible routes. Maya's ribs throbbed from the previous day's injuries, but she ignored the discomfort, her attention fixed on ensuring that no one else would be hidden, erased, or lost. She checked the recovered files, noting recurring PTR-09 codes, linking victims across multiple operations. Each name had a story: children, elderly, people with lawful residency documents falsely marked as removed. The gravity of the network's reach weighed on her. She looked at the list of recovered individuals, ensuring proper identification, medical care, and documentation for legal proceedings. Outside, the early afternoon sun reflected off the dewy leaves, contrasting the dark realities the team had uncovered. Maya adjusted her brown coat and vest, preparing for the next sweep. The convoy moved quietly through pine-lined roads, keeping the operations covert while ensuring maximum safety. Surveillance drones scanned the landscape for activity, providing real-time updates. Cole briefed the breach team. The building ahead showed signs of recent occupation, fresh tracks, and indications of ongoing forced labor activity. Maya confirmed positions for medical and extraction personnel. As they approached the site, the faint odor of diesel, sawdust, and human confinement reached them, signaling they were on the correct location. The breach teams cut perimeter fences, approached the main building, and coordinated with Maya and Cole to move efficiently. Inside, dim lighting and machinery created a cacophony masking movement. Maya raised her hand, showing her FBI badge to the victims, instilling recognition and trust. "I am Maya Williams, FBI. You are safe now. No one will move you again," she reassured them. Medical teams attended to immediate needs, blankets were distributed, and agents began documenting evidence. Beds, rooms, personal items, and markings that chronicled each person's experience. Priya verified metadata, confirming identities and linking them to prior PTR-09 codes, revealing the calculated pattern of illegal transfers. Maya noted the methodical precision used to conceal the operations, recognizing the need for comprehensive documentation. Each name, each mark, each record captured was a step toward justice. By late afternoon, all identified victims were accounted for and prepared for safe transport. Myer and Cole ensured secure handling of evidence, photographs, and digital logs for prosecution. Maya allowed herself a brief moment to acknowledge the progress. These lives, once erased, now existed, their stories documented and protected. Yet she understood the broader network remained at large. The day's operations marked a critical turning point, demonstrating the impact of vigilance, careful planning, and relentless pursuit of justice. The Hartwell timber processing mill and its adjacent structures were now preserved as evidence. Each corner, room, and document telling a story of abuse that would no longer be hidden. Maya's eyes swept over the property, noting details to follow up in the investigation. Each successful recovery was a testament to resilience, strategy, and courage, and a message to the system that no life could be erased without accountability. The team prepared to return to headquarters, reviewing logs, photographs, and files, ensuring nothing was overlooked. The sun began to set over the pine forest, casting long shadows over the secured property. Maya, exhausted but resolute, knew that this was one victory in a continuing battle against a network designed to erase human lives. Yet the strength of the operation and the recovered individuals gave hope that justice, though slow, could prevail. Night had fallen across the pine-lined roads as Maya Williams and Raymond Cole prepared for the next phase of the operation. The Mississippi transfer point was active, evidenced by fresh vehicle tracks and subtle signs of human presence. Agents moved in formation, the convoy silent, avoiding attention while maintaining vigilance. Maya's brown coat, now a symbol of resilience, brushed against her vest as she checked her badge, mentally confirming each step of the extraction plan. The main building loomed ahead, its weathered boards and patched fences betraying years of illicit activity. Drones hovered, scanning for movement inside. Cole and Maya coordinated breach teams, medical units, and extraction personnel. Inside, the mill was dim, machinery echoing faintly, masking footsteps. The first victims were located behind chain-link partitions, pressed together in fear and exhaustion. Maya raised her hands, badge visible. "I'm Maya Williams, FBI. You're safe now." Relief washed over the huddled group. Tears and whispered words of disbelief marked their tentative hope. Medical teams distributed blankets and water, tending to the most vulnerable first. Maya methodically documented each victim, photographing faces, names, and evidence of confinement. Cole coordinated with state police, blocking any escape routes. Priya's analysis confirmed Black Orchard codes and PTR-09 connections, systematic, deliberate, and clandestine forced transfers. Tire tracks outside led towards service roads. Fragments of burned documents linked to prior PTR-09 cases were recovered. Maya decided against notifying families immediately, ensuring victims were secured first. The East Wing held smaller rooms where some victims had been confined. Doors opened one by one, revealing signs of deprivation, bedding, clothing, personal items, and etched markings. Each individual accounted for was meticulously logged, ensuring no one was overlooked. By early morning, all 32 individuals had been recovered, escorted into secure transport and medical care. Maya surveyed the property from the convoy, noting details for continued investigation. Every name recorded, every document preserved was a step toward justice. The building, once a hidden site of abuse, now stood exposed. The operation had restored dignity and life to those previously erased. Maya reflected on the magnitude. This was not just an extraction, but a reclamation of humanity. Sunlight began to illuminate the red dirt property, revealing a scale of systematic cruelty now under federal scrutiny. Maya allowed herself a moment of recognition. Each life saved was a victory against a corrupt system, a testament to courage, meticulous planning, and unwavering pursuit of justice. Yet she knew the broader network remained, and further work was necessary. The property was a crime scene, fully documented, every survivor accounted for, and every trace of the perpetrator's manipulations preserved. Myer and Cole prepared for follow-up operations, tracing the network, ensuring continued safety of the rescued, and preparing evidence for prosecution. The day's operations marked a turning point, showing that systematic abuse could be exposed, and lives once lost to erasure could be restored. By mid-morning, the team had regrouped at the command center, reviewing the recovery operations from the previous night. Maya Williams and Raymond Cole assessed digital and physical evidence, cross-referencing recovered PTR-09 codes and Black Orchard entries. Every item, from burned documents to vehicle tracks, provided critical insight into the network's methods. Priya Nyer continued analysis of metadata and communications, identifying potential secondary sites along the Mississippi-Alabama corridor. Maya, despite the lingering pain in her ribs, maintained her focus, meticulously tracking each recovered individual and ensuring accurate documentation. Cole coordinated field teams for the next extraction, ensuring tactical coverage, medical support, and secure transport. Surveillance drones provided real-time updates, confirming the target property showed signs of recent activity. Lights flickering, vehicles moving quietly along service roads, and subtle indications of occupancy. The team advanced cautiously. Maya's badge and vest signaled authority to the victims they would encounter, establishing immediate trust. Inside the primary structure, dim light filtered through dusty windows. Machinery hummed faintly, masking footsteps as breach teams moved in. Victims were located in clusters, huddled, weak, and wary from previous confinement. Maya raised her hands, showing her badge. "I am Maya Williams, FBI. You are safe now. No one is moving you again." Medical staff moved quickly, assessing physical conditions, distributing blankets, and providing water. Agents photographed, logged, and catalogued personal items and evidence, noting room conditions and any markings on walls. Each recovered item was cross-referenced with prior PTR-09 codes, establishing patterns of systematic removal and concealment. Maya's approach remained deliberate, ensuring victims understood they were safe while simultaneously preserving evidence for prosecution. Outside, tire tracks led to service roads and surrounding properties, meticulously documented for tracing escape routes or accomplice activity. Partial fragments of burned documents were recovered, reconstructed by Priya's team to confirm identities and connections to Black Orchard. Communications were verified, ensuring no external interference could disrupt the operation. By mid-afternoon, all 32 individuals from the target location had been secured, transported safely, and medically evaluated. Maya reviewed logs, photographs, and digital reconstructions, ensuring the integrity of evidence and the accuracy of each account. Sunlight illuminated the property, revealing signs of prolonged confinement, systematic concealment, and deliberate erasure of lives. Maya reflected on the significance. These individuals, once reduced to numbers and erased from records, were now acknowledged, documented, and safe. Every step reinforced the importance of vigilance, meticulous planning, and courageous execution against systemic abuse. The operation's success provided a foundation for legal action, exposing human trafficking and corruption under the guise of lawful removals. Maya and Cole prepared the evidence for federal authorities, coordinating next steps to identify remaining victims, ensure prosecution, and dismantle the network's operations. Each recovered life, each recorded detail, was a testament to resilience, strategic precision, and the imperative that no human being be erased without accountability. As the sun climbed higher, Maya Williams and Raymond Cole returned to the command center, coordinating with field teams for follow-up operations. Each site recovered during the night was logged, and all victims were accounted for and in safe locations. Maya reviewed the digital footprint left by the Black Orchard network, encrypted records, travel logs, property ownership, and shell company connections. Priya Nyer cross-checked metadata, verifying connections between previous PTR-09 cases and potential secondary sites. Every fragment of information strengthened the investigation, highlighting the deliberate and systematic nature of the network's forced transfers. Nyer and Cole planned the next intercept along the Mississippi corridor, where fresh indicators suggested activity. Surveillance drones confirmed subtle movement, vehicles entering hidden pathways, faint light patterns indicating occupancy. The team advanced cautiously, mindful of the victim's perception of authority and past trauma. Nyer's badge was prominently displayed to reassure those inside the buildings. "I am Nyer Williams, FBI. You are safe now. No one will move you again." Victims responded cautiously, some with tears, some with whispered names of family. Medical and social teams ensured immediate care, blankets, and hydration. Agents photographed and logged personal items, room conditions, and evidence of confinement, documenting every detail for legal proceedings. Each recovered individual was cross-referenced with prior PTR-09 codes, confirming systematic removal and highlighting connections to Black Orchard operations. Nyer monitored the chain of custody, ensuring evidence integrity. Tire tracks outside led to service roads and additional buildings. Fragments of burned documents provided tangible links to prior cases. Priya reconstructed codes from metadata, confirming identities and patterns of deliberate concealment. Nyer withheld family contact until every victim was secured, prioritizing safety and operational control. By mid-afternoon, the targeted building was cleared, 18 additional individuals secured and prepared for transport. Nyer reviewed photographs, digital logs, and survivor testimonies, ensuring accurate documentation and preservation of evidence. Sunlight reflected across the property, revealing the full extent of confinement, altered structures, and deliberate erasure of victims' presence. The operation restored dignity and recognition to those once reduced to numbers. Nyer reflected on the significance. These lives, once erased, were now acknowledged and protected. The broader network remained active, but the meticulous planning, execution, and documentation provided a strong foundation for continued prosecution and prevention. Nyer and Cole prepared next steps, tracing additional sites, monitoring transport routes, and coordinating with federal authorities. Each recovered individual, each documented detail, reinforced resilience, strategy, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. The operation demonstrated the power of meticulous planning, courage, and the importance of ensuring that no human being could be erased without accountability. Evening approached, but the operation showed no signs of slowing. Nyer Williams and Raymond Cole reviewed live feeds from the Mississippi-Alabama corridor, coordinating with field teams to monitor any ongoing activity. Priya Nyer cross-checked metadata, highlighting potential secondary sites still active or recently used. Nyer's brown coat and visible badge ensured victims recognized her authority, reinforcing trust in the midst of chaos. Inside the target buildings, dim light and the faint hum of machinery filled the air. The team located remaining individuals, some crouched in corners, fear evident in their eyes. Nyer raised her hand slowly, showing her badge. "I am Nyer Williams, FBI. You are safe now. No one will move you again." Relief spread, tears and quiet murmurs signaling the first steps toward recovery. Medical personnel provided blankets, water, and first aid, while agents photographed rooms, personal items, and markings etched into walls. Each recovered object was logged, cross-referenced with prior PTR-09 codes, and connected to Black Orchard operations. Tire tracks outside led toward service roads. Fragments of burned documents were reconstructed, confirming identities and patterns. Nyer chose not to contact families until all individuals were secured, prioritizing their immediate safety. By nightfall, all victims from the site were accounted for, transported securely, and provided with medical care. Nyer reviewed each file, ensuring evidence was intact and thoroughly documented. Sunlight had long disappeared, leaving the site in shadows, but operational clarity illuminated every corner, corridor, and recovered item. Every name logged, every photograph captured, and every survivor accounted for reaffirmed that human lives could not be erased without accountability. Nyer reflected briefly, allowing herself a quiet acknowledgement of progress. The operation had restored dignity and recognition to individuals once treated as invisible. Yet the broader network remained, and further investigation was required. Evidence was preserved meticulously, the property secured, and survivors protected. Nyer and Cole coordinated next steps, tracing additional sites, confirming transport routes, and preparing for legal proceedings. Each recovered life and documented detail underscored the resilience, strategy, and courage required to confront systemic abuse. The operation demonstrated that deliberate, coordinated action could expose a network that had operated in shadows for years. Nyer's resolve remained steady. No person would be erased again without consequence. The night grew quiet over the property, but the echoes of recovery, documentation, and justice filled the command center, signaling a turning point in a long and arduous pursuit of accountability. The following morning, Nyer Williams and Raymond Cole convened with the team to review the outcomes of the previous night's extraction. All recovered individuals were accounted for, and evidence from the Hartwell timber processing mill had been catalogued and secured. Priya Nyer ran final checks on digital metadata, confirming connections between PTR-09 codes, Black Orchard entries, and all associated sites. Nyer's ribs still throbbed, but she focused intently on coordinating the next phase. Cole outlined the approach for the remaining suspected transfer points: careful surveillance, rapid extraction, and secure transport of victims. Surveillance drones provided real-time updates, confirming activity at secondary sites. Nyer prepared the breach team, emphasizing the importance of minimizing trauma for victims and preserving evidence for prosecution. Inside the next target building, dim light filtered through boarded windows, machinery hummed faintly, and the faint odor of confinement lingered. Victims were located in small groups, exhibiting signs of exhaustion and fear. Nyer raised her hands, displaying her badge. "I'm Nyer Williams, FBI. You are safe now. No one will move you again." Relief and quiet tears were evident among the victims. Medical personnel attended to their immediate needs, while agents documented the surroundings, photographing each room, personal effects, and wall markings. Each recovered item was cross-referenced with prior PTR-09 codes, reconstructing the system of illegal transfers. Tire tracks outside and fragments of burned documents confirmed connections to prior Black Orchard operations. Nyer withheld family notification until all individuals were secured to ensure operational safety. By late morning, the secondary site was cleared, victims safely transported, and records meticulously updated. Nyer reviewed evidence, cross-referencing all recovered digital files, photographs, and survivor testimonies. The sun rose higher, illuminating the property and revealing structural alterations and signs of confinement. The operation had restored dignity to those previously reduced to numbers. Nyer allowed herself a brief reflection. Each life recovered marked a triumph against systematic erasure. The broader network remained active, yet careful documentation, survivor recovery, and strategic action provided the foundation for legal accountability. Nyer and Cole prepared follow-up measures, tracing additional sites, ensuring safe transport, and coordinating with federal authorities for prosecution. Each recovered individual, each piece of evidence, reaffirmed the power of careful planning, courage, and unwavering pursuit of justice. By afternoon, the team had secured all known targets, leaving the properties documented, evidence preserved, and survivors safe. Nyer took a moment to observe the recovered individuals being tended to by medical staff, recognizing the tangible impact of their actions. Lives saved, identities restored, and human dignity reaffirmed. The operation had exposed the network's methods, ensuring that those who had attempted to erase lives could no longer act with impunity. Nyer's resolve remained steadfast. Every victim accounted for, every trace documented, every injustice challenged. By late afternoon, Nyer Williams and Raymond Cole had consolidated all recovered data, coordinating with federal authorities for the ongoing investigation. Each site had been meticulously documented. Photographs, digital files, tire tracks, and survivor statements were catalogued for legal proceedings. Priya Nyer verified metadata, confirming all PTR-09 codes and Black Orchard entries were accounted for. Nyer's attention remained on operational safety, ensuring that every survivor's identity and well-being were preserved. Cole briefed field teams for monitoring remaining suspected locations, maintaining strategic oversight while preventing further illegal transfers. Surveillance drones continued real-time scanning, tracking movement and verifying activity at secondary sites. Maya's badge and presence reassured victims, reinforcing trust as medical teams provided care, blankets, and water. Agents documented rooms, personal items, and structural modifications indicative of prolonged confinement. Each recovered item, name, and code reconstructed the network's methodical operation, confirming deliberate human transfers and systemic concealment. Tire tracks and burned document fragments validated prior investigations, while digital reconstruction linked individuals to Black Orchard operations. Maya deferred family notifications until survivors were safely secured, prioritizing operational control and victim safety. By evening, all targeted locations had been secured, survivors transported, and evidence preserved. Maya reviewed files, cross-referencing photographs, metadata, and testimonies to ensure comprehensive documentation. Sunlight had faded, leaving shadows over the properties, yet operational clarity illuminated every corner. Every recovered individual was accounted for, restoring identity, dignity, and recognition. Maya reflected on the significance. These lives, once erased, were now restored and documented. The broader network remained active, but the meticulous recovery, evidence preservation, and survivor safety provided a strong foundation for prosecution and prevention. Myer and Cole coordinated follow-up operations, tracking additional sites, verifying transport routes, and preparing evidence for federal authorities. Each life recovered, each document preserved, emphasized resilience, strategic precision, and the imperative of accountability. The operation demonstrated that even deeply concealed systems of abuse could be exposed and dismantled through careful planning, courage, and unwavering commitment to justice. By nightfall, the team reviewed the day's results, confirming every victim accounted for, evidence intact, and operational objectives achieved. Maya allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection, acknowledging the magnitude of what had been accomplished, yet understanding that the mission to restore justice and prevent further erasure was ongoing. By the following morning, Maya Williams and Raymond Cole had set up a temporary command center near the next suspected transfer site. Satellite imagery, property records, and prior intelligence guided their approach. Priya Nyer had traced digital metadata from Black Orchard and PTR09 codes, identifying patterns and previously untracked sites. Maya's ribs were still sore, but she maintained her focus, coordinating agents, breach teams, and medical support for victims. The convoy moved silently along the pine-lined roads, avoiding detection while ensuring tactical coverage. Upon arrival, the team surveyed the main building, noting structural modifications, recent vehicle tracks, and signs of habitation. Maya and Cole coordinated a methodical sweep, ensuring victims' trust and safety. Inside, dim light filtered through the boards, machinery hummed faintly, masking movements. Victims were located in small groups, fear evident in their eyes. Maya raised her hands, showing her badge. "I am Maya Williams, FBI. You are safe now. No one will move you again." Some cried, some whispered names, recognizing the authority and assurance she provided. Medical teams distributed blankets, water, and care. Agents documented rooms, personal items, and wall markings, photographing each detail. Each recovered item was cross-referenced with prior PTR09 codes, reconstructing the network of forced transfers and concealment. Tire tracks outside and fragments of burned documents validated prior investigations. Maya withheld family notification until all victims were secured, prioritizing safety. By mid-morning, the building was cleared, and all recovered individuals transported securely for care. Maya and Cole reviewed evidence, ensuring integrity and comprehensive documentation. The operation illuminated the scope of abuse, structural alterations, confinement evidence, and deliberate erasure of records. Every individual accounted for represented restored dignity and recognition. Maya reflected on the broader impact. Systematic concealment had been exposed, and lives once erased were now visible. Follow-up operations were planned, tracing additional sites, confirming transport routes, and preparing evidence for prosecution. Each recovered life and documented detail underscored resilience, precision, and commitment to justice. The operation demonstrated that deliberate, concealed systems of abuse could be dismantled through meticulous planning and courage. By late afternoon, all objectives for the site were completed, evidence secured, and survivors safe. Maya allowed a brief moment of reflection, acknowledging the victories while recognizing the ongoing nature of the mission, to ensure that no human life would be erased without accountability. By late afternoon, Maya Williams and Raymond Cole had compiled all evidence from prior operations and coordinated plans for the final sweep of active sites. Priya Nyer's metadata analysis confirmed remaining PTR-09 and Black Orchard connections, highlighting potential transport points and active locations. Maya's focus remained sharp despite lingering pain. Every recovered individual and piece of evidence was critical to building a comprehensive case. The convoy approached the next site, concealed by tree cover and late afternoon shadows. Agents prepared breach teams, medical support, and extraction personnel. Inside, the facility's dim interior, hum of machinery and faint odors of diesel and sweat signaled active operations. Victims huddled in corners reacted cautiously. Maya raised her hands, badge visible. "I am Maya Williams, FBI. You are safe now. No one will move you again." Relief and tears spread among those rescued. Medical personnel distributed blankets and water, while agents documented rooms, personal items, and wall markings. Each recovered detail was cross-referenced with prior PTR-09 codes and Black Orchard data. Tire tracks and burned document fragments validated reconstruction of the network. Maya withheld family contact until all victims were secure. By evening, all individuals had been recovered, documented, and transported to safe locations. Maya reviewed photographs, survivor testimonies, and digital records, ensuring thorough evidence preservation. Sunlight fading over the property revealed structural modifications and signs of confinement, marking the first tangible exposure of ongoing abuse. Each individual accounted for represented restored identity and dignity. Maya reflected on the operation's significance. Systematic concealment had been exposed, and human lives once erased were now acknowledged. Follow-up measures included tracking additional sites, confirming transport routes, and preparing for federal prosecution. Each recovered person and documented detail underscored resilience, strategic precision, and commitment to justice. The operation demonstrated that even deeply concealed systems of abuse could be dismantled through careful planning, courage, and perseverance. By nightfall, the command center coordinated evidence processing, survivor care, and legal preparation. Maya allowed herself a moment to acknowledge progress while recognizing the broader mission remained. No human being would be erased without accountability, and each recovered life was a victory against systemic injustice. The following morning, the final phase of operations and review began. Maya Williams observed survivors, ensured the last documented evidence was secured, and verified all PTR-09 and Black Orchard connections with Priya Nyer. The survivors were now safely in federal custody or with social support services, medical care administered, and identities verified. Raymond Cole coordinated with field teams and state authorities to ensure the network could no longer move or conceal victims. Maya reflected on the long fight, 32 lives rescued, documentation preserved, and a corrupt system exposed. Federal charges were prepared, evidence catalogued, and survivor testimonies secured. Families began reunions, cautious tears and relieved smiles filling the air. Grace Okoro embraced her father, Samuel, holding him tightly after years of uncertainty. Maya stepped back, observing the restored dignity of the victims and the closure for the families. Ruth Bennett, who had preserved records for years, watched quietly, tears in her eyes, witnessing justice finally unfolding. The FBI coordinated press announcements and legal filings to ensure transparency and accountability. Maya reflected on the lessons of the case. Courage, meticulous planning, and persistence could dismantle even deeply concealed operations. The community, once affected by systemic erasure, now had names, faces, and stories restored. As the sun set, Maya stood outside the center, taking a deep breath, the weight of responsibility mingling with the satisfaction of lives saved. Cole handed her a coffee. "Justice?" he asked. Maya looked at the empty horizon, calm but resolute. "Not yet," she said softly, "but it's no longer buried." Later, the first community reunion was held, Tables laden with food, church choirs humming, families reconnecting, and survivors sharing stories filled the room. Maya observed from the back, badge visible, the brown coat locked in evidence. Children ran, older adults embraced, and those once treated as numbers were now recognized, their humanity restored. Samuel and Grace stood together, arms linked, smiling faintly at the stability of being reunited. Maya approached quietly, witnessing the fruits of careful planning, courage, and relentless pursuit of justice. Elena Morales, part of the federal review team, addressed the crowd. A missing file is not paperwork when a human being disappears with it. Applause filled the room, deep and meaningful. Maya watched survivors laugh, cry, and reconnect, understanding that each life saved was a testament to truth, persistence, and justice. As evening settled over Atlanta, Maya reflected. Evil may hide behind titles and polished words, but courage, meticulous documentation, and perseverance ensure truth survives. Justice may not arrive with thunder, but sometimes it enters quietly, restoring humanity and dignity. And in that moment, every individual, every name, and every restored life bore witness to the power of standing firmly in the face of cruelty. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and share this video.